In the first half of 2024, the radically engineered Aptera solar electric vehicle will begin rolling out to the first of at least 40,000 eagerly waiting customers who can't wait to get their hands on the steering yoke of this amazing new hyper-efficient EV. To call Aptera a revolution in personal mobility is an understatement. When you begin to understand just how radically different this EV actually is, beyond even the advanced form factor of this three-wheeled hyper-aerodynamically styled car from the future, you have to get beneath the skin and understand that practically everything you know about conventional motor vehicles and the way they are designed and built has been thrown out the window in the quest to make the most efficient vehicle ever made for production and sale to the public bar none. Just take the materials used in the construction of this car. Aptera utilizes carbon fiber and alloy construction, which is normally only used in $1 million hypercar, not a boxy steel body like most cars. But Aptera is gunning for hyper-efficiency, not hyper-speed, although a 0 to 60 time of 4 seconds and a top speed of 101 miles per hour is not too shabby for an economy car that costs less than the cheapest Tesla model currently available for sale. Next, consider the in-wheel motors. Because this vehicle is so lightweight, the motors don't have to spin up to 18,000 RPM like the drive motors in a Tesla, and in fact, the Aptera motors won't even rev as high as a typical internal combustion engine found in most cars. And because no gear reduction is needed, taking up less space and weight in the car, weight can be driven down even further, creating greater efficiency. The Aptera is so light that in spite of it needing a battery pack like all EVs and having a lot of interior space, it actually weighs less than a ton, less in fact than a small economy car with a lot less power, range and space, and about half as much as a typical EV. As a result, Aptera breaks the EV mold, destroying the stereotypical low range, long charging time and high purchase cost of a typical EV. Then there's the solar charging. For most EVs, solar charging makes no sense because it would only add a few miles of range in a day, barely enough to get to the local shops and back. But because the Aptera is so efficient in the way it uses its battery power, up to 40 miles of range a day can be added by the solar cells built into the top surfaces of the car. This means that if you only commute for up to an hour a day to and from work, you won't even need to plug the Aptera into a charging point and will essentially be driving for free. But if you do need to do a road trip of hundreds of miles, the Aptera will get you there without having to stop any more often than you would for a typical rest break, and you can go on your way with enough charge to resume your journey to the next stop, unlike most EVs which require you to at least double the length of your rest breaks because regaining lost charge can take upwards of half an hour at a time. Plus, if you purchase the 1,000-mile version of the Aptera, you won't likely have to charge at all during your road trip, because realistically, are you going to drive more than 1,000 miles in a day? By the time you have driven that far, you will be ready to park your Aptera for the night while you sleep, and it charges on a destination charger, so it will be ready for another 1,000 miles again the next day. For many, even the 400-mile or 600-mile versions will be sufficient, as long as you don't mind plugging in for a short time while taking your rest break. But the point I want to make right now is that now you know what a game changer the Aptera will be, you understand something which so far only 40,000 people in the world know, out of the hundreds of millions of car buyers who fork out money for a new car, and increasingly for a new EV, since Tesla made the electric vehicle mainstream over the last decade. Now, fast forward to 2024. When thousands of Apteras start to spill onto the streets of California and other states of the USA and eventually right across the world, everybody is going to know about this radical new hyper-efficient solar EV. That's when Aptera's website is going to crash with hundreds of thousands of orders, and anybody ordering a new Aptera then will have a wait of months if not years to get an Aptera. But you have an insider's advantage right now. You can snag yourself a discount on a pre-order of an Aptera and ensure that your new Aptera will be delivered within about a year from today, give or take a few months. The reservation fee of $70 is fully refundable if for some reason Aptera doesn't make it to production, not likely as they are tooling up in Italy right now to start making those radical carbon fiber bodies with CPC Group, the company that makes advanced composite body shells for Ferrari, Lamborghini, McLaren and similar hypercar makers. The link is in the description box below or on the channel page of Aptera Challenge. What have you got to lose? Go for it now, grab yourself a slice of the future before anyone else realizes what is happening.